This is the Simpit. I'm your host, Sean Cole, and today we are doing our very first live filmed review of the Thrustmaster Y-350 CPX 7.1 surround sound headphones. These headphones are really being marketed towards the gamers of us out there, and they really are cool in the sense that they are all-in-one headphones. They work on the PC, they work on the Xbox, the PlayStation, they work on your tablet, and I've even used the things on my cell phone. They are powered headphones, and that is a good thing because it means they are capable of ear blistering type volume to the point that I could say that I rarely turn them all the way up, if ever at all. They feature 2.4-inch 60mm drivers. They have a Y Sound Commander, which is an affiliate between Thrustmaster, Texas Instruments, and AM3D, and that they call virtual surround sound. Now inside the box, you get everything that you'd expect. You get the headphones themselves, along with their cool cloth braided cord in Simpit orange and black or orange and gray. You get the Y Sound Commander module with its cord, a microphone, a splitter, which is how you get the PC connectivity versus the 4-point connector, 4.3.5mm connector on the end of the regular cords. You also get a USB charging cable, which we'll talk about how it all goes together later. Now, let's take a look at these and what you really get in terms of for your money. Oh, and I didn't cover that. They do go for $99.99, $100, and for a pair of powered headphones, that's not a bad deal, but they're not super cheap either. So taking a look at the headphones themselves and what makes them special, or the things that you need to know about the way they work. They're made of a high-grade plastic on the exterior, kind of in this gray and orange finish. They have a metal interior or spine, whatever you want to call it, and when you pull them out, you get about 1.25 inches on each side of additional length. Now when you go down the arms, but each earpiece has a pivot that allows it to really align with your head very nicely, and it feels very solid in its construction. I will say they are heavy duty, but not terribly heavy in weight. They're not lightweight, but they're not as heavy as they look, to be honest with you. In addition to the pivoting bottom, the earphones, or the cups, they actually go up and down as well. So between that, you basically get all the articulation that you need to get them nicely aligned on your head, which is pretty cool. The ear cups themselves is kind of a pleatherish type of a covering with a good amount of padding. And what's important to a lot of people is how big is the interior? How big is this space that goes around your ear? It's about 2 inches on the ID of this, and they stand about 1/2 inch from the face of the actual speaker or the hard portion of the ear cups. On the left side is where you're going to find, the keyed position that holds the microphone. Now the way the microphone works, it plugs in and it's flexible. It's about 7 inches in length, and it's got a pretty good amount of memory, but a limited amount of range, all within the distances of maybe where you'd use it. It doesn't flip up out of the way entirely, so I found that it's always kind of dangling a little bit in the way, not too bad. Also on the left side, you'll find that cloth braided cable along with a clip to go onto your shirt, and that 4-prong 3.5mm connector that goes into the Y Sound Commander. Now the length on this cord right here is 41 inches long. So that means from your head to the Y Commander is 41 inches. This thing isn't heavy, but it is something that you have to take into account. So that plugs in like that, and you can use the clip to hold it wherever you need it to be. Now, let's focus in on the Y Sound Commander. The Y Sound Commander, it's like about 3.5 inches. The Y Sound Commander is also made of plastic. It's pretty sturdy feeling, and it also is in that cool gray and black, or gray or black and orange, just like our Simpit colors. On the left-hand side, you've got the master volume switch. It's a dial, I should say, with a little plus and minus. You've got the on and off switch, the master power switch, and you can see my little light will turn on right when I turn it on because it does already have a full charge. On the right hand side, you have the bass volume. So the bass has its own individual volume knob, and it goes up and down just with the dial on the opposite side. On the front, or the face, you have the 7.1 surround sound. We're going to talk a little bit more about their 7.1 surround sound in a moment, but you can turn that on and off. You can turn the microphone on or off, and then it also has a great feature that I love in headphones, and you're not going to find this in all headphones, but it does have the ability to hear and monitor yourself through the microphone and the ability to turn that on or off. But that's nice. Sometimes if you can't hear yourself, you can't know what you're saying. It's really weird. On the top, you have the plug, and that plug is what is going to accept the headphone side. And then you have a cord on this end, also that braided cord, with the same plug on the opposite end, and this one adds an additional 21 inches of length to the overall length from your heads to your computer so far. In addition to that, you get this splitter here, and what this does, so if you're using a cell phone, a tablet, something that is already accustomed to a 4-prong 3.5 millimeter jack, what you have is a left, a right, a microphone, and a common ground are the pin layout here. And that's very normal for like a headset for a tablet where it has a microphone on the cord. But in PCs, we are accustomed to separate jacks. So it comes with a splitter that makes it PC compatible this way. And now it's going to go into the typical green and pink jack on your PC. Now these are powered. And like I said, that's a good thing. Powered headphones can offer a lot more volume than non-powered headphones. And as I get older, it seems to be a bigger and bigger concern to me that my headphones can play loud enough for me to hear what I'm listening to. This cord, which is way longer than the end of the other cords here, I'll show you, is the charging cord. And they will work while charging, or you can charge them up and unplug from this. But I don't know why you would need to, because you're going to have this going to your computer anyway, and then this ends up being that much longer. So that's sort of unnecessary wire, just giving you the mapping of putting it all together. So that is pretty much everything. Your total cord length going to the end of the speaker, or the wires into your PC, is 94 inches overall, and it takes about 3 hours to charge these suckers up. As far as runtime, I haven't found out. They've always lasted longer than the amount of time that I've actually operated them. So now you've heard about the cost, all the details, and what it takes to get them up and running. And it does get a little bit simpler if you're not hooking them up to the PC because you're using fewer cords. But once you do get them up and running, let's talk about how they feel. That's the most important thing. I mean, they can be beautiful, but once they're on my head, all I really care about is the comfort. How do they fit my head? How durable do they feel? And then we'll talk about the sound and things like that. Starting with the comfort. Now, I do have a small head, so you have to keep that in mind, and I'll give you some dimensions. When they're sitting in this position, you are looking at about 5 inches from center to top of the band. And for me, that fits perfectly. Now that means they're really any smaller, like a child's head, they're probably going to be too big for them. All right. Now, if you have a larger head, I said they come down about 1.25 inches on each side, but it really only changes the dimension up and down by about 1/2 inch. You can see the difference. Maybe it's about 3/4 inch. It really opens them up a lot wider, but it does drop them down quite a bit. Now, putting them back into my position. Long endurance races, comfort is everything. How does that top band feel? Well, it feels really good. And the pleather, it's got a decent covering, but it's not like a super wide padding, but they're not terribly heavy headphones. The ear cups, for me, fit over my ears. I mentioned it's a 2-inch interior dimension of the cup. For me, it takes a little bit of moving them around, but I can get my ears in there. And the only thing it's really doing is pushing my lobes up and in, nothing that causes pressure. I have raced in these headphones for 2, 3, 4 hours at a time. Totally comfortable, not bad at all. When it comes to the comfort aspect of these headphones, my biggest complaint is this pleather material can actually get a little sweaty. If you're a sweaty type of guy, which I tend to be when I'm racing, I do get a little bit of sweat buildup on it compared to like cloth ones, which it's different. They absorb it. This is a wipe away from being clean versus the cloth type where it might even soak into the padding just a little bit. Now, once on my head, the microphone. adjusts pretty well. So I can get it out of my way so I'm not like blowing into it or if I don't want to be heard so much. And I can get it into a good position. The microphone itself, it's not a super high quality microphone.
This is audio recorded with the Thrustmaster Y-350 powered headphones. This is the microphone being recorded. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. This is audio recorded with the Sennheiser PC360 G4ME headset. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. And this is audio recorded with the Audio-Technica AT2020 USB microphone. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
This is actually a good time to talk about how much they deaden the sound. Now, these don't have any official sound noise canceling aspects, but they're very solid built headphones. When I put them on, my voice right now is very muffled, and that comes back to having that voice pass through where you can actually hear yourself talk. Because right now, I hear myself, but if I had other sounds going, I wouldn't hear myself at all. If I had other sounds going from the game or music, whatever I'm doing, I'm not going to hear outside noise. They do a very good job on that as well. Now, let's talk about the overall sound. The overall sound on the headphones, I think, are what you'd expect from a pair of $100 headphones. They're average. It is good, it is loud, and I like having an adjustable bass volume, so I can actually crank up on the bass on certain things. That is a nice feature that not all headphones have. The powered aspect to me is another one of those extremely important aspects. Again, most non-powered headphones, I find them to not be quite loud enough for me. I'm always trying to get them a little bit louder. These are loud enough that, again, I never use them at full volume, and I have to admit, I actually sometimes just leave them on my desktop and I use them as external speakers.
Kiss my ass! I can see that it's pointless talking to you, Mr. Young. Why do you insist?
So they are loud. Now, the quality of the sound, again, it's average. There's a little bit of a tinniness, even with the added bass, even with the added Y surround. It still has a little bit of tinniness, but there is some good depth to the sound. They're not just cheapo headphones. They definitely do have a certain quality, but not in the caliber of a Sennheiser, but it's easy to spend $200, $300, $400, even $500 on a pair of high-end headphones. We are just talking about average headphones. Now again, they have that Y sound feature. This is supposed to give you a 7-in-1 surround sound. Now there are not 7 speakers in these headphones. It is a faux surround sound. It is a digital surround sound, giving you exactly what you'd expect. Kind of an echoey sound to it. They don't really give you that ability to hear something coming up. And if you read it, they kind of imply that you do. But from where I'm coming from, if I have a car coming up behind me on the right, I just hear it on the right. I don't hear it coming up from behind me on the right any more than you would with a pair of desktop speakers. But when you turn it on, it does give you sort of that more vibrant and echoey feel of more of a surround sound. And that's what they do. I use it sometimes, not all the time. It's not a feature that I would buy the headphones for, but it is nice to have. And I think in certain games, it might play into the headphones more than with those particular headphones. So overall, the quality of sound was pretty average. Overall, the volume was exceptional, the additional bass was exceptional, and the comfort was overall exceptional. The other thing I can say, and I've had other Thrustmaster headphones in the past, these are very sturdy built. Outside of stepping on them and doing something really dumb, I don't see any reason for these to have any problems with the overall construction. So that gives you an idea what it's like driving. Average headphones, average price, average type of driving and sound experience. But just to make things clear, I have broke it down in the typical fashion with pros, cons, and then we're going to get to the bottom line and then finish off with some questions from you guys. So number one, the first pro is good overall sound. I've gotten a lot worse sound from other types of headphones. Other pro, they are plenty loud. Again, I've even used them as external speakers at times. They're very comfortable, and I will say, very comfortable. I think they're cool looking. I mean, for me, they match my studio, they match my clothes, they match my shoes. I love that about them. The rechargeable aspect is really nice. You can leave them charging while you use them, or you can pull them off of this cord, and then if you're going to use them on an external device, you still have that super strong rechargeable or powered sound. I love the additional bass control. I love that they're built to work with anything. So instead of them being just dedicated to a PC only, you have the ability to use them on your cell phone, which I've done, on your tablet, which I've done, on any of your consoles or your PC. I like the voice monitoring aspect. When you have a pair of headphones that deaden the sound as well as these do, you actually want that at times, just so you can hear yourself talking. And I think if you ever had that on or off ability, you'd know exactly what I'm talking about. And that goes to they're very good at blocking outside noise. And then finally, my last pro, well, no, I have two more. Charge time. They actually take less time to charge than they do to run. It took 3 hours to charge them to full charge, and I've run them for over 8 hours without them going out. And again, you can use them while charging. And the last pro is, I think they are reasonably priced. At $100, you're not breaking the bank, but you're still not paying for Sennheiser or any of those super duper high-end quality ones, but you get what you pay for and that kind of thing. Now, when it comes to the cords, I felt the overall length was good, but honestly, this 41 inches on the headphone to the Commander was like an odd length. It was a little too short, because if I pinned this up to my shirt, then there wasn't enough length to get to the PC with the way I route my cables. At 94 inches, I think it was, overall length, it's a plenty of long cord. I just found it in an odd length with all these different connectors, and it made it a little harder for wiring. I also found that the plug from the headphone to the Y Commander was a little bit temperamental. So if you put this in the wrong spot, like down on your thigh next to your seat, and something was pressing up on it, it actually would get a little bit of interference. And that actually could become a weak spot later if it was just that kind of weak plug scenario. Now, even though I ran them a lot in the headphones while charging, if you charge them while driving at a very high volume, you'll hear the buzz of the charger. At a lower volume, it wasn't as big a deal, and with the charge time of 3 hours, I really didn't have that problem at all anyway. The microphone, overall, we heard it earlier in the show, it's average. The microphone is less quality than the headphones themselves, but you heard the difference between an open mic and between like a high-end Sennheiser mic on a good pair of headphones. And the next con is, despite having short charge times, there's no auto turn off. So if you do actually leave these on with something running and walk away, you will be wearing your battery. It has no sense of whether you're actually there using them or not. So you have to use your head a little bit. It is a rechargeable device. And the last con, I'm only going to do this once because I don't want to wear them out as much as will happen. And I've had this problem on other headphones before, but when they do this type of an attachment where the outer fabric goes into a little groove, that if one of these ever comes off, it stretches the fabric out and it becomes harder and harder to get them back on each and every time. It's not my favorite way of attaching an ear cup to a headphone. But again, if you take care of your headphones, you shouldn't have that kind of problem at all. So that does take us to the end of the pros and cons, and I want to finish things off with the bottom line, and I think you've already heard most of it throughout the review. They're just average headphones. You can't buy these headphones and expect them to be amazing. But at the same time, for $100, you do get powered headphones, and you can pay a lot more just for that feature in other headphones. You do get good construction, and again, if you don't abuse them, they should last you a very long time with some pretty good sound and very good power behind them. They do have some additional features which are really nice for sim racing, like the feedback and being able to hear your voice, the ability to adjust the volume, so if you are looking for that certain volume level, you can then put the bass right where you want it for certain cars, certain sims. And I also like the multi-platform flexibility. It was actually kind of cool. One day I wanted to have a phone call with these. I plugged them into my cell phone, walked around the neighborhood wearing these headphones, which means I looked like quite the dork, but they did work very well, limited only by the very mediocre microphone that goes along with it. So overall, I think my best features for that, or my favorite parts, are I love the braided cord, I love the overall look, and I love the decent, respectable price and the fact that they come from Thrustmaster, a company that I do love because they are within our sim racing community. And I think that tells you just about everything you need to know about the Thrustmaster Y-350 CPX 7.1 surround sound headphones. They are a decent set of headphones for $99. Admittedly, I've had better headphones. Admittedly, I've had worse. But I hope I've answered all the questions or told you all the things that you need to know about these headphones to decide if they're the right headphones for you. I hope you've enjoyed the concept of the new live filmed review. No script, me just throwing at you exactly how it comes off of my head, having done a lot of testing, having done a lot of thinking about it. But that's going to do it for today. Please let me know your thoughts on this style of review, and we'll take that into consideration for the future. This is the Simpit. I'm Sean Cole, and I'll see you on the track.